Headline news most affecting Chilliwack this week. The Red Cross is taking in donations for Lytton wildfire victims, and some of those they escaped here to Chilliwack. One of the buildings on the former site of the Kokalitsa Institute Residential School will be demolished. Fraser Valley Pride will be virtual and based out of Abbotsford with no Chilliwack events planned. And Johnny Canuck lands in Abbotsford. Our special guests this week include Chilliwack-Kent MLA Kelli Paddon and Chilliwack Mayor Ken Popove. All right, Chilliwack, let's get started. To help people affected by the wildfires that are burning around BC, the province will be matching donations, all donations, with the Canadian Red Cross, and that's up to a ceiling of $20 million. Now, the matching funds will be retroactive to donations received since July the 3rd, when the Red Cross British Columbia Fires Appeal began. The federal government is also supporting the Canadian Red Cross campaign in BC by matching contributions. So that means every dollar donated becomes $3 to support those affected by wildfires. Donations will need to be specifically provided to the British Columbia Fire Appeal Fund for the province to match them. Now, the donations to the appeal can be made through the Red Cross website, as you can see when you go to their front page, as well as in person at BC liquor stores, as well as BC cannabis stores. British Columbians wanting to make a financial donation to help those impacted can do that through those two locations, again, as well as the Red Cross website. Some may see this as a knee-jerk reaction to the recent Lytton wildfire devastation. Others call it basic common sense. The federal transportation minister has issued an order for 60-minute response times for both major railways, CN and CP, for communities that should know of any fire danger that arises from passing rail cars. Now, this order is now in effect until the end of October. It applies to operations along the stretch of rail line between Kamloops and Boston Bar, as well as Kamloops and North Bend on the Thompson and Ashcroft subdivisions. Both CN and CP have to consult with Indigenous governments and other Indigenous governing bodies located along those lines. And again, many of those evacuees who are in Chilliwack have since returned to Lytton to see the damage for themselves. Both Ottawa and Victoria have pledged financial help for this major rebuild. One of the buildings on the former site of Chilliwack's Kokalitsa Institute Residential School will be coming down. chillTV has learned that the 70-year-old building that was once used as a TB hospital will be torn down in September. While officially this is not part of the search for bodies for residential school children, Stalo Chief David Jimmy did recently allude to a search of what was once the Kokalitsa school site. The other area to be searched by Stalo includes St. Mary's in Mission. Now, the Chilliwack Progress reporting that the Stalo Service Agency Executive Director, Willie Hall, said it needs extensive, expensive repairs. The assessment done 3 years ago, and it showed that it would be more costly to fix this building than to simply replace it and tear it down. So in the final weeks before it all comes down, that building will be filmed as part of a documentary, and Building 1 will be open to the public for a final walkthrough. That starts August the 5th through August the 7th. Final demolition is expected to begin September the 10th, should be completed by September the 29th, and right now, currently, there are no plans for any new structure. The Kindness Chain Chilliwack Association is holding a Seniors Appreciation Barbecue coming up this Saturday at noon at Central Community Park downtown. The event is from noon to 3. It's a free event. From their Facebook post, KCCA, quote, appreciates our senior community and enjoys honoring them. The last 18 months were very tough for everybody, especially to the seniors community members, and we want you to be there and bring your own lawn chair. Also, coming up on Saturday, a summer market and classic car show at the Chilliwack Coliseum. As well, the Rhode Irons Car Club will be joining in for a classic car show. Now, this won't be the same scale as the canceled Fortin's car show that usually takes over downtown Chilliwack at the end of June, but it does give show and shiners a chance to show off and brag about their classics. The 9th annual Fraser Valley Pride celebration schedule of events has been released. It's on from July the 16th to the 24th and is a presentation of Fraser Youth Society. Now, even though COVID restrictions are easing, that did not give organizers too much time to make changes. So all of the events will be virtual and based primarily out of Abbotsford. The last major Chilliwack event was at Chilliwack Secondary in 2019, the same year as the controversial Rainbow Crosswalk debate at City Hall. And city rainbow crosswalks were voted down. However, a number of other rainbow crosswalks popped up, particularly on First Nations property, as well as the school board office. The latest on the GoFundMe effort for Ryder Lake Hall is fast approaching $21,000. The Hall Committee is already working on essential maintenance tasks now that there's enough money to fund that. There will be a community barbecue at the Hall. That's coming up in about 10 days' time, Saturday, July the 24th. That'll be a fun time with kids' activities, information tables, opportunities for newcomers to mingle and find out what's happening with the community and that hall, and a chance basically to say everybody who pitched in. The Cascade Gondola project was first unveiled to local media in 2019, and since then, another project has also come to the forefront. Both want massive projects near Bridal Veil Falls. Now, Cascade is wooing the paragliding community as well as tourism in general. And now there's some major dollars involved. The Cascade Skyline Gondola project over the last 3 years has been working with two of the world's largest lift companies, Doppelmayr and Leitner Poma. And in an unprecedented situation, both companies now offering financial proposals to Cascade in the realm of $28 million. Jason Faulkner, the president of CSGP, told chillTV, quote, "This is unprecedented in North America for any project that would use these companies as potential for equipment providers, as well as the money. It would be a resounding endorsement about the world-class nature of our project, and these two companies competing for the contract have both offered financial terms which have never been done before anywhere else in the world." chillTV regularly invites both local MLAs to be on the show and update what's going on in Victoria and how it relates to our piece of paradise. Chilliwack MLA Dan Coulter was not able to join us this week because of scheduling conflicts. However, Chilliwack-Kent MLA Kelli Paddon did join us for an interview. That's coming up in just a couple of minutes. But first, and always on a regular basis, chillTV invites a member of council to be on Councillor's Corner, Chilliwack City. This week, it's the Mayor, Ken Popove. chillTV with Don Lehn and Councillor's Corner, Chilliwack City, and this go around, it's Mayor Ken Popove. And right off the bat, the Lytton wildfire, and of course we're dealing with Kamloops. We had a scare at Harrison. We had a number of people from Lytton and the area come down to Chilliwack. And as always, Mr. Mayor, we opened our doors. Do we have any numbers of how many people actually came in?
No, but it is quite a few. And I'll say thanks for having me up here. And there was a scare at Cultus Lake as well.
Yeah.
There was a trailer that exploded a couple nights ago. And lucky we have a fire department up there because it could have been a lot worse than it actually was. But you are correct, Don. Chilliwack, as usual, steps up to the plate. There is a reception area that has been set up at the senior high to take people's information down so we can account for them, if you will. The numbers are kind of fluid because they are being housed more up in that area compared to Chilliwack, but we are prepared for an onslaught if it happens. I certainly hope it doesn't, but the way it's going right now, I drove down from Kamloops yesterday, and holy moly, there's a lot of smoke. And it's good to get into the valley where there is no smoke as of yet, but I really feel for those folks up there.
You made a comment on Star FM the other day, and I have to give you credit for biting your tongue, because I would have said some stronger words myself. Cigarette butts, and especially, anywhere, but along Highway 1, along Chilliwack River Road, Chilliwack Lake Road, heading to the provincial park, and it was more than just a few bags worth of cigarette butts. How do we educate people? You can't arrest everyone.
And not sounding, pompous or whatever, but you just can't fix stupid. People they don't get it. Like Canada Day, for instance, that was another one that really irked me as well. There's no fireworks. The city's fireworks that is well thought out and planned out didn't happen. But after 10 o'clock and for about an hour, I heard them lighting off the fireworks. And we as a city do it in a controlled fashion. Not off the end of the driveway or in the middle of a cul-de-sac where you have no idea which way the wind's going or any of that. I heard a few trees caught fire. Just, it's frustrating, especially cigarette butts too, because all you got to do is butt it out in your ashtray of your vehicle. Like if you don't have an ashtray, get one. It's dry out there, people. It's tinder dry. And if we want to have a repeat of Lytton, well, that can certainly happen. And back to the fireworks issue as well, we have put some teeth into our policy as well. Previously, if you got caught with fireworks, we would just give you a talking to and say, please don't light it up, and in places that are different. Now, if you're caught with fireworks, you get a $500 fine. So that should hopefully, put an end to that. But it probably won't, but we got off lucky this year.
Just literally a couple of hours before we taped this interview, the Public Service Minister for the province of BC, Mike Farnworth, made a statement about the wildfire situation. I'm curious to know what protocol is. He didn't say a state of emergency like he did with COVID. Something like that. Would you be privy to that information, and do you have a say in that, or is that a protocol call that only he makes?
I believe it's only he has the power to make that call. I don't know protocols. I'm not sure how that actually works. Listening to the forestry folks, and we're approximately a month ahead of our big, fire seasons, if you will. So, like I mentioned earlier, I was driving back from Kamloops, and my word, there was smoke everywhere, and there are some big fires that are happening. So, I'm not sure what needs to happen. Like, does another, town need to be burned down or what have you to enact that? But, time will tell. Yeah. And I would suggest that we're probably heading in that direction. And
as we go to air with this, we're keeping an eye on a corridor between 70 Mile House and 100 Mile House in the Caribou. One other thing, and I know you get inundated with a few emails, one or two, and that is it's summer. It's construction on the roads. Myself getting here, I ran into a few snags in that. Press Road, I guess there's some good news. You were saying that progress there in that construction is it ahead of schedule? Is it on time?
It's bang on schedule. I actually took a tour of the work last week, and all the sheet pilings are in. The folks that are building that are very experienced in their field. By the end of this month, they are going to be laying the actual girders down, which I'm going to go and watch them do that. I find that kind of interesting. So, yeah, it's right on schedule. And yes, I get lots of emails, and you can see the color of my hair is going a little bit grayer, but that's all part of the job. But the detours seem to be working okay. Yeah, it's going to take like a few more minutes to get to where you're going. Please kind of plan ahead, obviously, because there is a lot of construction. There are like a lot of flaggers out there, and I tip my hat off to all those folks that are out there in the sweltering heat doing their jobs. But this is the perfect time of year to do this kind of stuff because it's dry. They can lay the asphalt down as soon as the road bed is done. So just think about the end result when it's all done. You'll forget about all that, and you'll have nice smooth roads and nice way to travel, bike, all that stuff. With the work on Vetter Road from Watson to Keith Wilson, that has been shut down for the summer, except for the work to move the hydro poles, which we always seem to be waiting on them to do that. But and then that'll ramp up back in September. So we're getting close, folks. We're getting close to getting these major infrastructure projects done. We have invested in excess of $15 million, and it's something that's been well needed and will be well liked when it's done. I can guarantee you that.
Chilliwack Mayor Ken Popove, again, a big thank you for joining us.
Always great to be here. Thank you, Don.
And this is Councillor's Corner, Chilliwack City, and you're watching chillTV's News of the Week. chillTV's News of the Week. I'm Don Lehn, and joining us on a regular basis are either one or both of Chilliwack's MLAs. Dan Coulter could not join us because of scheduling, but Chilliwack-Kent MLA Kelli Paddon is here. We've got a few things on the table, and most recently, some amendments to the ALR, and there are some people that are reacting or overreacting, saying, is this going to how is this going to affect housing, building houses on agricultural land, and are we going to see monster homes? So I think we better explain what is it new old rules or repealing of rules, or what is the situation here with this legislation?
All right, well, you're right. People are asking a lot of questions about this. It's exciting news. I think it's a great balance and middle ground to protecting the ALR, but also recognizing our farmers need to have some flexibility as to how they use their land. They'll be able to build on their land, it's a rather small structure for purposes without having to go through the ALR approval, still getting approval from local First Nations or municipality. But it removes a little bit of red tape. It allows a little bit more flexibility. A little bit different because there aren't the same restrictions as there were previously, where it has to be, family, or it was just very, very strict, a little confining. So the rules were originally changed to protect, like you just said. We want to protect our farmland and be able to grow our food. But now with these rules, because we've been consulting, the farmers have told us what they need, and these farms that are hopefully intergenerational, it gives another place for people to live there as well. Just different uses, whether the land is being farmed or not. So
yeah, you brought up a good point about intergenerational. City Councillor Chris Clute, very happy about that. Also about building housing for when farm workers come back into the economy back here once all of this madness with COVID dies down. So I'm sure that's is making you and Lana Popove and everybody else very happy that getting the farm industry on stable footing is a big thing with this legislation.
Well, one of the things that is really important is how much feedback came in to inform this, so that the decisions made and the changes could really support farmers, support families who farm, and even support people who live on ALR and who aren't farming at this time. The other rules and the other kinds of buildings, that still works pretty much the same way. It's just this one area where there's a little bit more flexibility, so that second residence isn't quite as confining. It can really serve the family that's living on the land.
Chilliwack MLA Dan Coulter, as we mentioned, couldn't be here because of scheduling, but I know a thing that he has been harping for the longest time was accessibility for disabled. I'm sure you've been involved with some of those conversations. Some of these directives are quite impressive, and are they now in place or about to go in place?
Well, so yes, Dan's the parliamentary secretary for accessibility, which means that he was a big driver on this legislation, and he'll be doing a lot of work towards the regulations. So the legislation has passed. As someone who's worked in the field of disabilities myself for a couple of decades, I couldn't be happier. One of the really, really important pieces about this legislation is it really positions disability outside of the person. A person does not cause a disability. An environment, different things happening in society cause a disability. It's an interaction between an impairment and the environment. So for me, that is very, very important. I know for so many disability advocates it is as well. During the regulations, in order to develop them, there's going to be so much consultation. And I believe they're building the group right now. And there's lots of notices about that. And that will really inform what British Columbians expect of accessibility legislation, because it's through those regulations that this is going to come into action. So nothing but good things to say about that. And I I know Dan's really excited about it as well.
Safe supply, which is rather timely because just over this past weekend, Fraser Health with another overdose alert, this one in Surrey. But the running concern for the recovery community has always been if it starts anywhere near the Fraser Valley, it will literally come across the valley within 7 to 10 days. The overdose crisis continues to become terrible, but it just adds on to itself. What is the latest on safe supply coming from the John Horgan government?
Yeah, so this situation is heartbreaking. It's a health emergency. We all know it. An average of 5 people die a day right now, and it's hard. The announcement today, though, was really positive. I think, even in the midst, it's going to help. So there's going to be an increased access to safe supply. They're rolling out, the minister announced today, they're rolling out plans and investments to increase access to safe supply in a manner that really recognizes that this is a health issue, not a moral issue. Yeah. So responding accordingly. Now, it is phased because we want to make sure health professionals and individuals who are at risk are all safe while we roll this out. So I'm just so encouraged. I'm so proud of the work that the government's doing to make sure that we all get to move forward together.
And for more information on all these topics, your social media, as well as Dan's, as well as the provincial government, correct me if I'm wrong, gov.bc.ca?
Gov.bc.ca is the government. If you want to email either Dan or I, it's our name, and then at leg.bc.ca.
Kelli Paddon, MLA for Chilliwack-Kent. As always, a big thank you for coming in.
Thanks so much, Don.
And you're watching chillTV's News of the Week. chillTV Sports, take one. The Fraser Valley Bandits got off to a quick 4-0 start for this current season. Then the first road trip of the year, and that was the back-to-back losses to Niagara Falls and Ottawa. The team was back home on Wednesday for a stint against Guelph, and they won that one. Now it's back on the road against Hamilton on the 23rd and Edmonton on the 25th. Now, for this game, this first game back against Guelph in Abbotsford, fans were allowed back in the stands, and some 2,000 people showed up for the game at Abbotsford Centre. Now that one of from the file of the worst-kept secret, they will be known as the Abbotsford Canucks, with the Johnny Canuck logo. The American Hockey League farm team of the Vancouver Canucks, formerly known as the Utica Comets, start play in the fall. Tickets are now available. And the Abbotsford Canucks, with the Johnny Canuck logo, on their website, the Facebook, the Twitter, and the Instagram, all those accounts are now live. chillTV weather, it's warm, but nowhere near that heat dome from a couple of weeks ago. Sunshine, highs reaching close to 27, 28 for the weekend. If you'd like to participate in reporting news in Chilliwack and you have a story you think we should know about, send us a note anytime to news@chilltv.ca. We'd love to hear from you. That's the news this week. I'm Don Lehn.